Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Heather, and on this channel I would like to walk a very fine line between a shopping addicted makeup monster and a responsible adult with a makeup hobby. Now, I really enjoy eyeshadow singles, duochromes, multichromes, blush, highlight, lip gloss, basically everything except pressed glitter, and today I want to try out the Reckless Romance palette from Beauty Bay. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, stick with me, we're getting into it right now. So I think about this palette as like the dark, brooding little sister of the prior Valentine's Day launches that they've had, which include the New Romantic and the Love Notes. Love Notes was super light, almost just pure pastel, and then had like a pops of like lilac in it, and then the New Romantic was the original that was like pinks with some reds and browns, and then there was like a really dark muted olivey brown in there that was very nice. But yeah, I saw this one and wanted to give it a try. As far as the color story, this is what we're looking at, and of course this is not a super unique color story for, you know, Valentine's Day time frame. You've got some mauves, some pinks, some kind of gray tones, which I would say are probably the most dynamic and interesting, innovative of the shades that are in here, but I still think in general this is a pretty straightforward Valentine's Day palette. Now obviously I am not like super neutrals girl, so I could have done without the sort of neutral browns that were in here, but everything else in here I think looks super duper pretty, so I'm really excited to give it all a try. It actually kind of reminds me of Smoky Roses from Ace Beauté, but like more pink, because when I saw this online, I was thinking it was going to be more pink than it was. But this like kind of cool toned grays and like plum-ish tones in here, I feel like we have the more colorful version with Beauty Bay. I am working with a slightly different setup here today, so hopefully everything is coming out all right. And I did already go ahead and put on my foundation, concealer, and eye primer. This video I'm actually going back to an old standby, which is my NYX pigment primer, because I haven't actually used this in quite some time, and I need to get a reminder of how good this is for the primer video that should be coming. I think I have only 2 primers left to test before I do a review of about 10 to 15 or so eye primers that are all pretty reasonably priced, like drugstore prices or under, so that I can give you guys that feedback. I'm really excited for that. There are just so many exciting shades in this palette. I think I want to use, so I definitely want to use this like purpley shade here. I want to use this plummy shade here. I want to use this sparkly black for sure. So I need to work those 3 things into a look. I'm gonna go into the shade Fling first, which was that kind of rosy mauve in the top row, and just start buffing that above my crease here. I am very hopeful that I'm getting my brows done later today, because I did schedule to get my brows waxed, and then yesterday at work everybody tells me today we're supposed to get a horrendous snowstorm. So I'm really hoping that holds off at least until after I get my brows done. So that was this shade over here. I'm going to use a little bit of this Soulmate shade to do kind of the inner corner. Alright, so now at this point we've got these 2 shades blended together, and I think that looks pretty good. Definitely they're quite similar in the eyes though, so you're not going to see like a huge difference between those two in an entire look, but I think that inner shade kind of softens the inner corner a little bit. I think I want to go in with Front Row, which is the purple shade, and then blend that into the black as kind of completing the mattes for the lid. Kind of like that. I still think that looks quite nice. I didn't actually read some of these other shade names. So the black shade I'm going to go into is Leather. I'm going to go back in with Front Row, which is the purple, and just kind of intensify that blend. And once more with Fling, which was the shade that I used at the very top. So at this point, this is kind of what the mattes are looking like. I want to go and get my glitter glue on so that we can start putting some of the shimmers on here. I really want to use the sparkly black because that is my jam as of late. Ooh, okay. So I went in with the NYX glitter glue and I went ahead and applied that. And I was just about to put on the sparkly black shade called Fishnets, and it actually looks like it has a bit of like a purple undertone to it. Like the mica that's in it to make it sparkly has a bit of purple in it, which I think is very cool. I will say this shade is not as buttery as normal Beauty Bay metallics have been, so that's unusual. I haven't swatched the palette out yet, so I may discover more shades that are like that as I swatch. I think I'm gonna tap a little bit of Rockstar onto like the inner third of the lid there, just to sort of brighten the inner corner up a little bit. Oh yeah, see that's way more buttery. That's what I'm used to. And if you see, what I did was like really hyper focus that on just that inner third. I didn't carry it too far forward because I really still want this to be a very smoky eye look. All right, so now I think we're ready to go in and do the lower lash line. And on the lower lash line, I think I want to do predominantly the grays and then maybe fade that into the silver. So I'm thinking this gray, maybe this one or that one, and some of this in the outermost corner, and then the silver metallic right there. It is really hard to do backwards, you guys. All right, so let's go into leather, which was the matte black. And I'm gonna take that very tight and short. On the lid, because black can get away from us very quickly. And then on a pencil brush, I'm going in with a little bit of tattoo, which was that first gray shade that I showed you. So just going in with a little bit of Backstage, which is the lightest gray in the palette, to kind of smoke out the inner corners and kind of clean up these edges here. And then a little bit more with Tattoo, which was that mid-toned gray black, but not the darkest black in the palette. Kind of like that. Oh, I like that. All right. Then Mini Dress is the metallic silver shade. I'm just going to throw a little bit of that in lower lash line here. And then I'm going to throw a little bit of Girlfriend in the innermost corners which is like the metallic pink with a strong silver sparkle in it. This shade right here, this is what I'm putting in my inner corner. And I'm going to use the beige, which is called number 1, just to throw a little bit of brightness up under my brows. Just pretend like all that extra eyebrow is not there. Because hopefully in a few hours it won't be. You guys, I woke up at 3 in the morning. Well, 2:30 in the morning. Couldn't get back to sleep and tried. And then I was like, well, I'll just watch YouTube for a little while. And then I was like, why am I watching YouTube when I could be filming YouTube? So here I am. I think that looks pretty decent as far as the eye look. I want to get on a black liner and I need to do mascara, but I think I may come back on camera to at least show you the mascara. So be right back with my liner. All right. So this is the eye look with just my liner, and I did go ahead and fill in my brows with the Kosas Air Brow in brown black. I wanted to come on and try the new Blend Bunny Omni Lash Mascara. This is the new one that they just put out, or the only mascara that they've put out. I did try it one time prior to filming this video, and I just kind of want to see what it looks like a second time before I sort of give you guys my thoughts on it. So it does have that sort of two-faced Better Than Sex mascara looking wand. And I do really like the ombre packaging and then like just the pink writing. I think it's nice. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can just include the entire clip of me using the mascara to sort of get to my lashes being at this kind of level, because I think it's important to see this formula. The brush is bigger than the mascaras that I've been using recently. My most recent favorite obsession is the Milani highly rated lash extensions. This is one of their tubing mascaras. So by comparison, this wand is bigger, and I think the formula doesn't stick to the wand as well. It kind of accumulates on the end, like on the tip of the wand, rather than across the wand. And so I find myself having to go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth several times to sort of build up to an intensity that I think is appropriate for an eye look, right? And so I want you guys to sort of see at least how long that process took, because I think once you get there, it looks really nice, but it does take a little bit of effort to get there. Whereas with the Milani, I'm just like swipe, 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 and off I go about my day. Now, the benefit to putting the little extra effort in my mind is that I think my lashes are more individualized than when I use the tubing mascara. I think I get more like spider lash kind of issues with this mascara, but I'm willing to put up with it because it just goes on so easy and it cleans off so easily at the end of the night. This one, for the one prior occasion when I washed it off at the end of the night, I overnight into the next morning had a lot of issues with like my eyes watering, and I'm not sure if that was the mascara, if that was the eyeshadow I was using, I'm not quite sure, or if it was just the fact that my eyes aren't used to having like a traditional mascara kind of panda eye around my eyes, and I've just been used to the tubing extensions mascara for so long. So I like it. I do think it takes a little bit more work, but I think it's kind of cool that there's an indie brand out there making a mascara that's fairly decent. Okay. Let me get the rest of my base products put on and a lip product, and I will be back and we can talk about Reckless Romance. All right, so as far as the face products go, I did go ahead and put on like a blush lighter, which is the Pretties for Your goodness gracious. The shade that I'm using is from Pretties for Your Face, and it is the shade Christmas Spirit. It's like a really nice, like kind of cool toned rosy pink, and then it has this sort of like blue iridescence to it that's pretty soft, but like on the face I think gives you like your highlight. It's like blush and highlight all together, right? Because it's a luminous blush. Lip combo is the ColourPop lip pencil in Flattered, and then the NYX Smooth Whip Matte Lip Cream in, what is your shade? Oh, Fuzzy Slippers. So this is our lip combo for the day. All right, so let me go ahead and get some swatches put in for you, and then we're gonna zoom out and talk about this palette. Okay, so what I did is I actually swatched the first 2 rows this way and then the last 2 rows that way, and I thought that would make it a little bit easier to kind of compare the shades that are very similar. Like you have these 2 grays here that are quite similar, and then this is the like almost black, that's the definitive black, so you can see kind of the gradient that you have there. And then in this particular first set of 10 pans, you can see these 2 mauve shades are quite similar as well. I think the reds and the purple are definitely differentiated enough, and then of course this cream shade you can literally not see on my hand or on my arm because it is so much my skin tone. And I did notice a little bit of dryness with this shade and that shade, but otherwise everything else behaved in a very creamy fashion the way I would expect from Beauty Bay. So let's talk about the Reckless Romance palette from Beauty Bay, right? So in the palette, it's another one of their traditional 20 pan palettes, which I really like because even though the price crept up, I think $2, it's still a really decent price, especially for the formula that you're getting. The mattes are very pigmented and you definitely will get some fallout, but you trade that off in exchange for that super pigmentation. So go easy if you're a little bit nervous about the deeper shades, but definitely can build up to a beautiful kind of like smoky eye look. I love that you have this sort of gradient of grays to blacks. And then you have some gradients for like the red and kind of pink to red, or this like mauve to purple. I really appreciate that as well. I could have done without the neutrals that are in here, but they exist. So if you're a neutral girly, maybe that appeals to you as well. And I think in terms of the metallics, I would have liked to see even one metallic purple that was even darker than this. But I do think this black, because it has purple mica in it, is probably where they were going with that. But it definitely still reads very black on the eyes. So I would have liked something sort of halfway between these two. And then I think, you know, between this Endure shade, the Girlfriend shade, the After Party shade, these are, you know, fairly similar shades. You probably could have sacrificed one of those to give us another like really deep kind of grapey purple. But otherwise, I think the metallic choices in here were quite pretty. I did notice a little bit of dryness with this shade Muse and this shade Fishnets, but otherwise the rest of the metallics in here were very creamy, as I have come to expect from Beauty Bay. Overall, if you like the color story, I definitely think this is a palette you should pick up. It's beautiful Valentine's Day kind of vibes, and if you are looking for that like smoky kind of grungy Valentine's Day look, I think this palette would be a very affordable choice to achieve it. Alright, and with that said, that is everything for this video. I want to thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe before you go, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!